It's Friday, January 3rd, 2014, and let's talk about what happened this week over at xdadevelopers.com. Most of the news this week centered around videos that had been made or updates that came out to devices unofficially, so let's go ahead and get started. If you're a user of the T-Mobile or the international variant of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, you may be in luck, or at least you might be sometime in the near future. Thanks to XDA senior member Deadman96385, there's now an unofficial AOSP-based build of KitKat for these two devices. And as it is with a lot of the other builds that I've mentioned of KitKat, there are still some bugs to be worked out on this one, actually some pretty decent sized ones. Specifically for these two devices on this particular ROM, the bugs involve things like not being able to hang up phone calls, and random data dropouts, and audio not working right, and even some problems mounting the SD card on the international variant. However, this is an excellent time if you have one of these devices and you're interested in helping out, head on over to the forum thread for all the details. If you have one of them and you just want to try it out, might be worth waiting a little while longer, but still, go on into the forum thread to get all the details on it, just to see maybe if and when you should jump on board. And interestingly enough, the next three stories I wanted to mention are all Sony related. Specifically, two devices got unofficial ports of KitKat. Those were the Sony Xperia Ion and the Xperia S, and both of these were done by the same pair of developers, XDA senior member Mr. Gez and XDA recognized developer RaymanFX. Now, as far as the Xperia Ion is concerned, there really aren't that many bugs and they really aren't that bad. The LED notification light does not light up whenever you plug in power, not really a huge deal, and the battery percentage does not initially show up in the status bar, which again, not a huge deal. There are mods for that. There are some CyanogenMod tweaks that can make that work. And actually the bugs on the Xperia S are pretty few and far between as well. It's things like FM radio not working, mono sound instead of stereo sound on the hardware speaker, and the notification drawer isn't rendering quite properly. But still, for both of these devices to be in the state that they're in is excellent. And it should probably be mentioned that the Xperia Ion release that they put out was built on top of a CM10 build done by FXP. And actually, speaking of CM10 and the Xperia S, although we weren't actually talking about them in the same sentence, now we are. If you have the Xperia S but you don't have one that has an unlocked bootloader, there's a bit of a workaround now available if for some reason you're not able to go ahead and unlock your bootloader. And there were a long list of people that were apparently involved in this process, and I'm not going to go through and read every name off. You can read through the portal post if you want to see all of that. But this does provide you a way to get CyanogenMod 10 running on your existing locked device, with the only real bugs that have been reported so far being some random freeze-ups, and some minor tweaks to the build prop file will supposedly take care of that. So if you do have that Xperia S and it is locked down, you might want to take a look at this portal post and the associated forum thread to get some more details on how you can sort of work around that locked device and still get the later, greater, not necessarily latest, greatest versions of software. Now, coming completely out of left field, at least as far as I'm concerned, the Motorola Xoom has received a port of Android 4.4.2 by way of OmniROM, thanks to XDA forum member Shishu, along with a bunch of other people that helped out, of course. And as far as bugs in the ROM and everyday usability, there seem to be relatively few bugs. There are some issues selecting alternate keyboards, and there's some issues with audio with regard to the dock. But again, this is something that's not necessarily going to keep you from using it. Do keep in mind, if you're interested in doing this, you have to have BigPart on your device, you have to have it partitioned differently, and you have to have twerp running that works with BigPart. And after that, it's pretty much just flash the ROM over to it. There are ROMs available for this for the Wi-Fi, 4G, and 3G versions, so if you have the Xoom and you're wanting to try out some newer code on it, definitely go check out this forum thread for all the details. And the last thing to mention, 3 other videos were posted to XDA Developer TV this week. The first 2 were done by me, and it was a 2-part series of the top 5 things I found in tech stories and in tech trends for the year. And then TK did a top 5 apps for the year 2013. So if you're interested in seeing any of those videos or any of the other stories that I talked about, make sure to check out the video description down below. Also down in the video description, you can find links to my YouTube channels where I talk about technology and play video games and things like that. And remember, if you like this video, you can give us a thumbs up down below. Subscribe to receive our content as soon as it becomes available. Thank you so much for watching though, and I will see you again on Monday.